Good afternoon, and here we are. Afternoon session, just a little one. That's we're going to set our 20-minute timer. Derp. 5-minute timer. It is Job Hunt Tuesday, so we're going to spend some time looking for a new career, new role. Don't know what we're looking for. Looking to do something meaningful. And in that, we are being very deliberate in what we are looking for. So what we're going to do is some things we're going to look at today. We're going to look at the idealist. The idealist. Welcome to the jungle. We're going to check in with LinkedIn for 2 reasons, both job searching, and we're talking a little bit about networking. And today we're going to do ZipRecruiter. I think the list of places that I peruse and look at, I think, is up to around 10 different sites. But some I keep coming back to because they've got interesting things. So we're going to talk about application process. We're going to talk about networking. And so just some related career search blocks that we put in yesterday. I'm talking about them today. As always, you can listen, or you can just enjoy the bottling doubling for the keystrokes. I put 3 hours to work on applications this afternoon. Set that time aside, not for anything else, just for reviewing sites and making decisions on applications. Applications can be incredibly robust. I want to say cumbersome and crazy, but we're going to say robust. Because some places ask for you to reiterate your entire resume. That is getting better. And you're seeing less of that, but it's still out there. For me, to combat that, I have a cut and paste document where my resume from soup to nuts is in a Google Doc that has, as you go through, everything laid out, everything in all the employers, street addresses, complete names of the supervisors, the things that you wouldn't have in a 1 or 2 page resume, the phone numbers, more dates than you average than you would put in, little details that they might ask for within what would be considered a traditional job application, one that you wouldn't expect to use for someone with a CV or a complete resume, but you're seeing more of that now. So the time spent putting that cut and paste document together has been well worth it. And then you can either cut and paste from document and change it to a PDF and pull things over in clumps, whichever is easier for you based on your styles. But that has been wonderful. So highly recommend a cut and paste document. That was our getting ready. We moved over so quickly. All right, so we'll keep it at 5 minutes so we can roll through. When you're going through the applications, if at all possible, do it in the moment. Try to spend less time saving. Don't touch things twice if you don't have to. It's more work for you. It's more brain weight for you to carry. If you're going to apply, go ahead. The only thing I would recommend is if it requires some sort of a video download, a Loom, something like that. Of course, you want to have your thoughts laid out and you want to look your best in the video. And maybe at the moment you're doing job applications, wearing a t-shirt might not be the time. But other than that, if you're going to apply in the moment. Don't wait. It's surprising how some great applications or great opportunities are flooded so quickly, and they can close them in 12, 24, 36 hours. And you're like, wait, where'd it go? And it was just gone. So strike while the moment is hot. That is why when we sit down to do applications, we try to put a chunk in so that you can do multiple applications and you can do them completely. All right, so we'll be starting on application soon. Flipping over our 3-minute timer to talk for a minute about networking. By this, I mean online networking, leveraging LinkedIn, I use Teal HQ to track my applications, the free version. I have not used the paid version. The free version is adequate, and being able to pull jobs over, being able to, with a quick click, I like this company, and I can go back later and do research either through LinkedIn, Welcome to the Jungle, Google, other voice to Glassdoor, and to look more at the company. There's jobs that sound great, and you start to look at the reviews and read things from Glassdoor, the Fishbowl, things like that, and go, ooh. I always shift stuff to newest. That's my preferred way to look at the reviews. I don't want to hold anybody responsible for what employees were saying during COVID or coming out of COVID. I want to know what's going on now with the current, the current regime, the current state of affairs, the current administration, current coworkers. I want to know. So make sure that you shift your searches when you're looking at reviews, either on Google or on Glassdoor. But then when I'm finding some of these places that I'm interested in applying, I go on LinkedIn and look at, go to the people section and send some emails. It's amazing how some folks will just have no problem reaching out and being generous with, they're not selling secrets of the company store, but people are generous with information and can be very kind and helpful in your career search. Worst they can do is not respond, and a lot of people don't respond. But all you got to do is ask, and that's the only way you'll find out. So while networking might seem kind of odd or feel funky, I don't know these people, go ahead, take a swing. And if you're uncomfortable at first, create some scripts and have them set. You can cut and paste them and make just little changes that make it personal and make it appropriate for the person you're reaching out to, but can be extremely helpful. And that is networking. Not my favorite thing to do by any stretch, but super important. All right. That was our 3 minutes. We have max of 10 minutes left on our time, so make it 5 minutes. Related blocks I have in my calendar this week related to the career search that aren't specifically applications are times to work on our stories, times to work on interview prep, and times to work on our tell us all about yourself, your elevator speech for you. And these are things I build in specifically because, much like networking, I don't like to do them. And I don't want to, every time I come up, think about it's like, I'll do something else. Oh, I'll just go through Teal and update my status. Or, let's just look for, general jobs and send some applications in now. Looking at the resume that you created, go through each of your bullet points and make sure you have an appropriate story in your back pocket that demonstrates that skill and highlights it in a way that you want to highlight. You will obviously have stories, tales, remembrances that will come up organically during an interview. But depending on interviews that might be stilted or take a different tack than you expected, and you don't want to be scrambling. You want to have these things. It's not scripted, it's just prepared. So taking some time to go through and blocking this into your calendar, make sure that it happens and not just job search, just job searching quotes. Break it out, especially calendar block the things you hate to do the most, which is why I calendar block in time for networking, because I hate it. Until people email you back and are willing to jump on Zoom for 5 minutes or Google Meets 5 minutes, 15 minutes and talk to you. And that's lovely. Interview prep. You can Google just about anything and, related to interview prep and get questions with, suggested responses, suggested things not to say, based on your field, your level of career, where you are in life. So you can use those things and set some time out in your schedule and Google interview questions. And then when your calendar time comes up, you can turn on Google Calendar. You can go live with YouTube or schedule things with your phone and look at yourself. If you don't ever want to play it again, that's fine. Nobody ever needs to see it, but you can cancel it when it's done. But that visual feedback, seeing how many times you go, some of us fall on filler words. I know I am one of them, and some of us have certain tics or habits that we fall into, either in gestures, facial expressions, or verbal or speech patterns. So it's nice to have that, that you can see it in yourself when you're doing your interview prep. You can rework answers. You can come up with stories you'd forgotten about when you just get flowing and talking and looking at yourself. And then you can workshop them and make sure they're curated to be always factual. Always factual. But make sure that you do include this or curate that, so that you are presenting yourself the way you wish to present yourself to a potential employer. And the last thing I have that it's included in my blocks, usually not a big block or short block, but your elevator speech, your tell me all about yourself speech. You can, again, Google or use ChatGPT to highlight what you should include in your 60-second or 90-second tell us about yourself answer. It's not from a child, from who you were as a childhood. It is a very high level overview of you professionally. And the more succinct and you can get it, the better. So that you know. The more succinct you can get it, the more direct. You don't stumble. It comes out cleanly and clearly and in the same way every time, so that you know that you are always including everything. I find I need to keep revisiting it to keep it fresh, but you want it curated and detailed or zhuzhed to be exactly what you want. And maybe if after, as you interview for a while, just things are going on at work, something new has happened with your career, and taken on a different project, you want to kind of maybe pull that in. It's good to revisit it, so that it is reflecting your story, who you are, best possible. But again, short, sweet, and smooth. Smooth. You want it to roll right off. All right, so those resume stories, resume bullet stories, interview prep, and tell us about yourself. Those are the additional blocks that I make sure we find time for in our calendar every week, in addition to the time we set aside using the applications. I'm going to put a link in the bottom about Teal HQ. Like I said, I only use the free version, but I do find it helpful. There's a Chrome extension that you can activate, so that many job sites that you're on, you can just right click and it pulls either a job or organization or an individual into your personal database. If it doesn't, if a site that you're on doesn't utilize or doesn't allow that extension to be utilized, you can manually enter, just cut and paste some data and track everything. When you've applied, date you're following up. It's a great thing to go back and reference to see where you're at and track who you've applied with, who you haven't, what's saved, what is it. It's lovely. So I'm going to put that in there. And we are finishing a couple minutes. So like I said, this was going to be brief. I want to get rolling. There's some cool jobs I saw on Idealist. I'll put a link in for that today too. Idealist, Welcome to the Jungle, and Teal HQ. I'll put them all below so you can click on them. Happy hunting. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll talk soon. Take care. Bye.